You felt it the moment you clicked on this video. That strange pressure in the air, like the world was holding something behind its teeth and finally decided to spit it out. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it was enough to make your chest tighten, enough to make you whisper to yourself, something's different today. Because deep inside you sensed what was coming. A truth that was never meant to go public. A truth that certain people prayed would stay buried. A truth about you. It happened quietly, almost too quietly. A slip of the tongue, a trembling voice, a moment someone could not hold back anymore. And suddenly the words were out. The confession spilled. The secret escaped. Someone finally admitted what they did to you. And now nobody is sleeping. You want to know why? Because confessions are not simple sentences. They're earthquakes. They shake the ground under people who thought they were safe. They reopen doors they sealed shut long ago. They call out shadows people pretend not to see. And for the first time in a long time, the world is adjusting to a truth that centers you. For years, you carried a weight they didn't want anyone to notice. You held silence like a stone in your chest. You moved forward even when the ground felt uneven, even when the echo of what happened stuck to your steps. You tried to forget. You tried to stay calm. You tried to swallow the pieces of everything you didn't say. But you remembered. Every detail, every moment, every action. They wrapped in excuses and shoved into the corners of your mind. When that confession slipped into daylight, something shifted. Not outside, inside. Suddenly you weren't shaking anymore. Suddenly you weren't replaying the past in your head. Suddenly you weren't trying to convince yourself that maybe it wasn't as bad as you remembered. No. The moment you heard those words, your memory straightened its spine. And now others feel the consequences. Watch them. They walk differently. They talk differently. They avoid your eyes not because they don't care, but because they're afraid you finally see what was always there. Truth has that effect. It has presence. It enters a room silently, but fills it entirely. Calm, heavy, unavoidable. People aren't restless because your story came out. They're restless because it came out in your voice, stronger, steadier, clearer than they expected. They tried to keep you quiet. They tried to keep you contained. They tried to keep you walking lightly so they could sleep peacefully. But now your silence is gone. And without your silence, their comfort collapses. What's fascinating is this. You didn't plan for this moment. You weren't preparing a speech. You didn't rehearse anything. Yet here you are, standing at the edge of a turning point that belongs entirely to you. Because the truth, once revealed, doesn't care about their timing. It chooses its own moment, and it chose now. The confession didn't weaken you. It awakened you. It brought light into a part of your story that deserved it. It reminded you of everything you survived, everything you carried, everything you built from the pieces left behind. It showed you that your strength was not imagined, it was earned. You are not the same person who held the pain in silence. You are not the same person who forced a smile to keep others comfortable. You are not the person who tried to minimize your own hurt so no one else felt guilty. You have grown past that version of yourself. And now you see things with clarity that makes others uneasy. This is not about revenge. It's not about dragging anyone through shame. It's not about winning some emotional battle. This moment is about recognition. Recognition of what happened. Recognition of what you endured. recognition of the strength you developed quietly, patiently, privately. You can feel the shift in the air, can't you? The sharpened awareness, the subtle tension, the stretch of silence that feels heavier than before. People think silence hides things, but silence also reveals. And right now, your silence, or lack of it, is revealing everything they tried to ignore. There is a calmness inside you now, the kind that makes others uneasy. Not anger, not bitterness, just clarity. A clarity that says, I know what happened, I know what you said, and I know who I am now. You're not asking for validation. You're not waiting for permission to feel what you feel. You're not seeking anyone's approval to step into the strength you earned. Because once the truth is spoken, it cannot be reshaped. It cannot be buried again. It cannot be taken back or quieted down. You heard the confession. You understood it. And now you rise with it. The moment the confession spread, everything became strangely quiet inside you. Not empty, just different. Like the noise that used to live in your chest finally took a step back and let you breathe. Because now you're not fighting shadows. You're not wrestling with doubts. You're facing something real, something spoken, something undeniable. And once reality shows itself, the mind doesn't tremble, it focuses. You may not realize it yet, but this clarity you feel, others see it. They sense the change even before you name it. They watch the way you stand a little straighter, the way your eyes don't dart away anymore, the way your voice doesn't shrink. It confuses them, it unsettles them. Because they expected you to collapse under truth, but instead, you stepped into it. Now the world around you feels like a hallway where every door is slightly open. You don't have to kick anything down. You don't have to force anything. You just walk. And the weight of your presence pushes things into alignment. That's what happens when you stop hiding from your own story. It stops controlling you, and it starts propelling you. Some people will try to act normal around you now. They'll pretend they didn't hear the confession. They'll talk as if nothing changed. But their eyes tell the real story. Their silence is louder. Their caution is sharper. Because when truth enters a room, people either face it or flee from it. There's no middle ground anymore. But this part right here is where you choose what comes next. Not them, not their excuses, not their fears. You decide your next step, and the next step is not about confrontation. It's about direction. You're not here to relive what happened. You're not here to replay old scenes in your mind. You're here to move forward, with full awareness of what shaped you, not trapped by it. Because strength is not born from forgetting. Strength is born from understanding. Look closely at yourself now. You're calmer than before. You're steadier. You're grounded in reality instead of confusion. And when a person reaches that state, they become harder to shake. Notice how your thoughts are clearer, how your decisions feel less complicated, how your future seems less foggy. That's what truth does. It removes the dust that people once kicked around you. But don't be surprised if some individuals drift away now. They're not leaving because you changed into something worse. They're leaving because you grew into someone they can't control. Clarity is uncomfortable for those who relied on your uncertainty. Yet you don't need them. Not their approval, not their explanations, not their presence. You only need one thing: a direction that belongs to you. And the moment you claimed your truth, that direction began forming under your feet. Slowly, steadily, quietly, but unmistakably. Now comes the internal shift, the one that matters more than anything anyone ever confessed. This is the moment where you look at yourself and admit something even bigger. You survived something that could have changed you for the worse, but instead it sharpened you. It made you more aware, more thoughtful, more resilient. You don't have to prove that to anyone. The proof is in the way you woke up today, the way you held your head, the way you breathed without hesitation. Some people call it strength, some call it growth, but you know what it really is? Freedom from confusion. Your voice is no longer quiet. Your steps no longer drag. Your thoughts no longer circle back to the same wound. You're stepping into a new part of your story, and this part doesn't begin with pain. It begins with clarity. Clarity that shows you where to walk. Clarity that shows you who to avoid. Clarity that shows you what to build. And make no mistake, you will build something now. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of understanding. Understanding of who you are and where you're going. The confession didn't just expose the past, it revealed your future. The people who underestimated you before, they won't understand this version of you. The people who doubted you, they won't recognize the strength you carry now, but that doesn't matter, because this journey is no longer about them. It's about your rise. Quiet, steady, undeniable. A rise that begins the moment you decide to stop looking back and start walking forward. This is it. The part where you stop imagining and start doing, where the whispers of the past no longer echo behind you. Because all the confessions, all the admissions, all the long hidden truths, they've served their purpose. They opened your eyes, they cleared the air. And now the only thing left is action. Look around you. Feel the energy in the space you occupy. Every glance you receive, every subtle hesitation from others. It's not coincidence. It's the weight of your awakening. People notice when someone steps out of the shadow of silence. They notice when someone stops tiptoeing around their own story. And they react, sometimes with fear, sometimes with curiosity, sometimes with envy. But none of that matters. What matters is you, the way you carry yourself now, the way you move through the world with your eyes open, your mind steady, your heart unshaken. Because this is no longer about who wronged you. This is about who you are becoming. Every step forward is a declaration. Every choice you make, every action you take is proof that the past does not control you. You are reclaiming the story that was almost stolen. You are rewriting the chapters that were once filled with fear and uncertainty. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, some moments will test you. Yes, some people will push back. But discomfort is the price of clarity. Resistance is the test of growth. And pushback. Pushback only means you're moving in the right direction. Now is the time to set boundaries. Now is the time to choose your company carefully. Now is the time to protect your energy fiercely. Because your strength is not for everyone to witness. It's for the people and the goals that deserve it. And anyone who doesn't recognize it, let them adjust to your presence or step aside. This is the moment where confidence replaces hesitation, where hesitation used to slow your steps. Clarity now fuels them. No longer are you waiting for permission to stand tall. No longer are you doubting the power of your own voice. You speak, you act, you move, and every motion carries weight. You may look back at what happened and feel a flicker of anger, a flash of resentment, a sting of betrayal. That is natural, but do not linger there. Use it, transform it, let it sharpen your focus instead of dulling your resolve. Your transformation begins the moment you take control of the narrative, not tomorrow, not when others are ready, now. The past belongs to them, the present belongs to you, and the future? You design it with every conscious step. The confession they finally made is not a chain, it is a signal, a trigger for your own awakening. And once that signal fires, nothing in your path remains unchanged. So rise, step forward, move deliberately. Every action you take sends a message. Every decision draws a line between the old you and the new. Every silent moment is now yours to command, because this is more than recovery, more than vindication. This is evolution. And evolution has its own rhythm, a rhythm only the awakened can hear. So carry yourself with intention, speak with certainty, act with focus, and let the world adjust to the person you've become. Now comes the moment where everything starts to feel heavier and lighter at the same time. Heavy because the weight of what you endured is still with you. Light because that same weight no longer crushes you, it fuels you. You've carried it for so long, you've learned its shape. And now that shape can be molded into something stronger, sharper, something that belongs to you. You might notice people around you shifting uneasily. Their glances linger a second too long. Their steps falter when you enter the room. That's not fear of you. It's fear of what they can no longer hide from the truth, the reality, the awareness that you've gained. And here's the secret they don't realize. Their discomfort is your signal that you're stepping into territory you were always meant to inhabit. This is where resilience turns into power. Not the power to punish, not the power to show off. The power to walk without hesitation, to speak without fear, to make decisions without doubt. Because that power belongs to those who survived, those who saw the truth and chose to rise rather than crumble. Look around at the people who once underestimated you. Notice their small slips, their nervous adjustments, the way they hesitate. Every one of those reactions is a mirror of what you once feared, but now it's reversed. Now you are the constant. Now you are the center of clarity. And it's beautiful in its quiet intensity. The confession was just the spark. What follows is a transformation you've been cultivating in silence, often without realizing it. Every moment of endurance, every second of patience, every quiet observation, they all feed this next stage. And now, the stage is set. Your story, once framed by what others did, is now framed by what you do. Your future, once tangled with their secrets, is now shaped by your own choices. Your voice, once cautious, is now deliberate, precise, unshakable. And with it comes a sense of clarity that cannot be borrowed or stolen. It is yours alone. Step carefully. Yes, but step boldly. There will be resistance. There will be whispers. There will be moments when the past reaches for your ankle, trying to pull you back. Do not fall, do not stumble. Do not let the shadows of yesterday define the brightness of today. This is where awareness meets action, where the truth you now hold becomes a compass, guiding every decision, every movement, every interaction. No more wandering blindly, no more second guessing. Oh, every step forward now is intentional. Every choice now carries weight. Every move now carries meaning. And remember this, the people who tried to diminish you, who hid behind lies, who relied on your silence, they are no longer anchors. They are markers. Markers showing how far you've come. Markers showing the difference between who you were and who you are becoming. This is not just survival. This is evolution. And evolution demands courage, clarity, and an unwavering commitment to yourself. The kind of commitment that doesn't bend, doesn't sway, doesn't beg for validation. It only grows. So stand tall. Breathe fully. Feel the weight of truth transform into momentum beneath your feet. The path ahead is not easy. It's not neat. It's raw. It's real. And it's yours. And now with every heartbeat, every deliberate step, every conscious decision, you move from the shadow of what was done to the light of what you will build. The confession was only the beginning. Whenever you walk in, that silence people try to hide behind because they think you won't notice. But you do. You always do. They pretend you're ordinary. Pretend you're harmless. Pretend they don't watch you from the corner of their eyes. Yet every step you take sends a ripple through their comfort. And that's why you're here. Because deep down, you've sensed something shifting, something they can't quite name, but something they fear all the same. They study you, quietly, casually, or so they think. They analyze every choice you make, every improvement, every new skill sharpening under your hands. And the more you grow, the more their chests tighten. You've become the question they can't answer, the variable they can't control, the force they can't predict. You were never meant to fit into the tiny boxes they built for themselves, and now that you've slipped out of those boundaries, they're left staring at shadows they can't decipher. Look closely at them. Really look. The slight hesitation in their voice, the sudden change of topic when your name slips into the conversation. That shifting gaze, sliding away from you because holding eye contact feels a little too revealing. They thought they could read you. They believed they had you figured out, labeled, packaged, shelved somewhere convenient. Yet here you are, rewriting your edges, reshaping your limits, becoming someone they can't follow, someone they can't map. And nothing unsettles a person more than realizing their assumptions were fragile. But it's not just your progress that rattles them. It's your presence, the stillness behind your thoughts, the quiet fire behind your decisions. They've noticed how you don't crumble the way they expected, how you don't fold under pressure, how you keep moving, not loudly, but steadily. Like someone who sees further than the others, someone who refuses to be small. And every time you take a step forward, even the softest step, it echoes louder in their minds than they'd ever admit. You see, fear doesn't always come from loud threats or grand confrontations. Sometimes it grows from something far simpler. The realization that someone they overlooked is becoming someone they can't ignore. And that's what you've become. A reminder that effort matters, that discipline matters, that potential isn't reserved for the chosen few. Your existence challenges their excuses. Your progress disrupts their comfort. Your becoming forces them to question their own fading ambitions. They won't say it, of course. They'll hide behind polite smiles, small praises, harmless comments. But watch closely. Their words tremble when they try to sound confident around you. Their plans shift the moment you enter the room. Their certainty fractures when your determination brushes past their doubt. They're not afraid of your mistakes. They're afraid of your improvement. Not afraid of your flaws. Afraid of the strength growing beneath them. Not afraid of your past. Afraid of the figure you're shaping with every deliberate choice. And the funniest part, you didn't set out to intimidate anyone. You didn't plan to make them nervous. You didn't deliberately build this tension. You simply started moving forward. Quietly, steadily, consistently. Yet your movement was enough, because people who refuse to grow fear those who do. People who stay still worry about those who don't. And people who whisper about you behind closed doors are often the ones who cannot keep up with the pace you've chosen. Now here you stand on the edge of something bigger than the opinions surrounding you. Not because you're loud, not because you're flashy, but because you've started acting on what you once only imagined. You've turned intention into motion, motion into progress, and progress into presence. And presence. Presence is something they cannot ignore, no matter how much they pretend otherwise. It lingers. It shapes the room. It shifts the balance of every conversation, every project, every expectation. So let them whisper. Let them watch. Let them try to interpret you like some puzzle missing half its pieces. They're rattled because you're no longer predictable. You're no longer manageable. Your growth is no longer optional. It's evident. And nothing makes certain people more uneasy than witnessing someone rise beyond their predictions. They thought you'd stay where they placed you. You didn't. And that alone keeps them awake at night. But here's the truth you need to hold. Their fear is not your burden. It's your evidence. Evidence that you're shifting ground. Evidence that you're stepping into power they never expected. Evidence that you've begun turning potential into momentum. And momentum, once it starts, is a difficult thing to silence. Your progress unsettles them because it mirrors everything they chose not to become. This is your moment. Your beginning. The quiet surge before the storm of your next chapter. You don't need to announce anything. You don't need to defend anything. Just keep moving, keep building, keep sharpening. The fear they feel is simply the echo of your ascent, an echo growing louder every single day. But before you take that next step, you need to understand something crucial. Something most people never notice until it's too late. Growth doesn't just reveal your strength. It exposes their fragility. Every time you rise, they feel something tightening inside them. An unfamiliar tension they can't quite explain. And because they refuse to look inward, they project it outward, onto you. That's why their eyes sharpen when you speak. That's why their smiles stiffen when you enter. They're questioning themselves, not you. They sense the shift, even if they pretend not to, even if they act casual. Look at the way they measure your words, your habits, your decisions. They're assessing you like someone trying to predict a storm. Not because you threaten them, but because you remind them of what they've delayed, ignored, or abandoned. Your discipline is a mirror reflecting the corners of their life they've kept dim for too long. And mirrors, they can be uncomfortable. You have to realize something else. People cling to familiarity. It makes them feel safe. So when you break patterns, they expect you to follow. They grip tighter, trying to pull you back into the version of yourself that made them feel secure. Not maliciously, not openly, just subtly. A comment here, a doubt there, a suggestion disguised as concern. They're not trying to stop you. They're trying to save the comfort they've built around who they thought you were. But you're past that now, aren't you? You've stepped into a different rhythm, a different pace, something sharper, more intentional. And deep down, they know they can't slow you down. Not with words, not with expectations, not with the shadows of who you used to be. That's why their uneasiness grows, because they can see it in your eyes, the hunger, the focus, the silent refusal to shrink back into old limits. And here's the part they don't understand. You're not racing against anyone. You're not trying to surpass them. You're simply refusing to settle. Yet somehow your refusal to settle makes them feel like they should have tried harder. It makes them question their excuses. It makes them wonder what they could have achieved if they'd been willing to endure the discomfort you embrace every single day. That's why they whisper. That's why they hesitate. That's why their breathing changes when you show progress. It's not envy. It's not anger. It's fear wrapped in confusion. Fear of being left behind. Fear of being exposed. Fear of confronting their own choices. They watch you because they're waiting to see if you'll stop. If maybe this is just a phase. If maybe you'll slow down long enough for them to feel comfortable again. But you won't, and that terrifies them even more. Because your consistency is louder than any declaration. Your persistence is sharper than any warning. People can ignore words, but they can't escape the impact of someone who keeps moving forward despite every doubt cast their way. And that's what you've become. Someone who refuses to shrink for the sake of anyone else's comfort. Now listen closely. This next part matters. You must not waste energy trying to explain yourself. Don't dilute your ambition to soothe someone else's insecurity. Don't step backward to make your growth less intimidating. The more you try to reassure them, the more you'll shrink yourself into shapes that don't fit anymore. And shrinking serves no one. Not them, not you, not the future you're shaping with every step. Leave explanations to those who crave them. You're busy building, busy sharpening, busy becoming. Let your actions speak. Let your journey unfold naturally. Let the results answer the questions they never dare to ask aloud. You don't need to justify your elevation. You don't need to justify your elevation. You don't need to apologize for wanting more. You don't need to slow down so they can keep up. Remember this. Calm focus is more unsettling than loud declarations. Quiet discipline is more powerful than any performance. When you show up consistently, silently, steadily, people notice. They can't help it. Something about that kind of dedication disrupts the air around you. It changes the dynamic. It makes them pay attention, even if they pretend otherwise. And with every step you take, their uneasiness grows. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're doing something they didn't expect. Rising. Rising, despite doubt. Rising despite obstacles. Rising despite the stories they wrote about you before you found your strength. Let them feel it. Let them wrestle with it. Let them analyze your every move if they wish. You're not responsible for their fear. You're responsible for your mission. And your mission is becoming clearer, sharper, stronger by the day. This is the point where people either distance themselves or try to hold on tighter. Because when you evolve, you force every connection in your life to adjust. Some will adjust gracefully, others, not so much. And that discomfort they feel, it's the signal that you're on the right path. Now pay attention, because this is where the shift becomes undeniable. When you rise past a certain point, the reactions around you start to change in ways you never asked for. Some people go quiet, not out of peace, but out of calculation. They're studying your movements, trying to understand how you keep advancing despite everything they predicted. They watch the way you adjust, the way you prepare, the way you execute. And in their silence, you can hear it, the tension of someone realizing they misjudged you. Others grow louder, strangely louder. Suddenly they have opinions about your pace, your choices, your direction. But listen carefully. Their words aren't about you, they're about their own fear. Fear disguised as advice. Fear disguised as concern. Fear disguised as casual commentary. They speak because silence would force them to confront the truth. You've surpassed the image they built of you in their mind, and now they don't know where to place you. But the most revealing reaction? The people who suddenly try to align themselves with you, the ones who once doubted you now linger a little too long, speak a little too kindly, hover just close enough to benefit from your momentum. It's not loyalty, it's survival. They sense your direction shifting upward, and they're hoping proximity will help them climb without doing the work themselves. Understand this deeply. As you evolve, people will react to the idea of you, not the reality of you. The idea they fear, the idea they admire, the idea they can't fully grasp. And ideas are powerful. Once they form, they spread. Suddenly your name is whispered in different tones, curious, cautious, uncertain. Not because you've changed dramatically, but because your consistency has exposed something they never expected. Your potential was never small, but here's the part they don't see. Your growth isn't accidental. It's not random. It's chosen. Deliberate. Intentional. Every improvement, every habit, every challenge you took on, it all stacked quietly, layer by layer, until one day the results became too visible to ignore. And now that the visibility is here, they're scrambling to figure out how you got here without their approval. This is why your presence carries a different weight now. When you walk into a room, the dynamic shifts, not dramatically, but subtly. People straighten their posture. They watch your expression. They adjust their tone. Not because you demanded respect, but because your growth earned attention. And attention, it changes everything. It creates tension for those who hoped you would stay beneath the ceiling they set for you. But don't confuse their tension with your responsibility. You are not here to manage their reactions. You are not here to carry their discomfort. You are not here to shrink your ambition so they can feel safe again. Safety is their comfort zone, not your purpose. And you've reached a point where returning to smallness would feel like betrayal to your effort, your progress, your future. So what do you do now? You keep going. You refine your edge. You strengthen your foundation. You stay committed to the path you chose. Because once people realize they can't predict you, they'll try something else. They'll try to distract you. They'll try to redirect your focus. They'll try to make you second-guess yourself, not out of malice, but out of discomfort. Your clarity intensifies their confusion, but you don't bend. You don't pause. You don't dilute your direction. Because the moment you slow down to reassure them is the moment you step out of your growth and back into their expectations. And expectations, especially small ones, have a way of trapping you in places you've already outgrown. You've reached a stage where every choice you make sends a signal that terrifies some, motivates others, and confuses the rest. But that's not your concern. Your concern is the mission in front of you, the vision you've sharpened, the future you're constructing with quiet precision. Every step you take now carries weight. Your weight, not theirs. Remember this. Evolution is not meant to be comfortable. Not for you, not for them. When you rise, you force the world around you to reorganize. Some people will adjust. Some will resist. Some will fade. And some will try to hold on for dear life. But none of these reactions should pull you from the path you've chosen, because your path is clearer now. Your movements are sharper. Your intentions are stronger. And as your strength grows, so does the distance between who you were and who you're becoming. That distance, that's what they fear. Not you, the distance, the separation. The growth. They can't follow without confronting their own limits. So let the distance widen, let the air change, let the tension rise. It's all part of the process, all part of the transformation, all part of the journey you're shaping with your own hands. There comes a moment in every rise when silence becomes louder than any shout, when your progress speaks in ways you never intended, when people start noticing the shifts you didn't even announce. And you're entering that moment now. A phase where your actions whisper truths that others can't ignore, no matter how hard they try to pretend they don't see it. You've probably felt it, that subtle pull, that invisible current around you. The way conversations pause when you walk by. The way people watch you for a second longer than necessary. The way they exchange glances, thinking you don't notice, but you do. You always do. Because you've sharpened yourself enough to sense the slightest tension, the faintest shift in the atmosphere. And right now, the atmosphere around you is electrified with uncertainty.